Hey everyone, the SEQTRAK, beat making basics today. How do I create a beat on here from scratch? How do I expand my beat? How do I build that beat up to maybe do arrangements, song modes, patterns? Let's have a look. This is the basics today. So depending on how long it gets, this video, it may be 2 parts. So SEQTRAK, basics, let's go. Okay, so nothing sequenced, my drums are in. With it being a SEQTRAK, you can actually put your own stuff in here as well, so you can actually impart your own samples as well as with the SEQTRAK ones. I have tons of samples, I'm sure everyone else does in their library. So, kick, snare, hat. Really cool. Now I want to sequence it, so I've just turned it on. How to get sequencing. This is a basic, showing you how to run it basically, how to get a beat up quickly and basically. So it's really simple. For those that don't know, there is a built-in metronome. If you wanted to use it, it's the all knob and the BPM button, BPM plus button. You turn it on. And I'm using it in standalone mode at the moment. I will show the app later on at some stage and maybe in a later series, but we're just showing it in a sort of standalone capacity at the moment. So it's 175 beats per minute. You can choose to change your BPM up and down and stuff like that, but in the app you can actually set the tempo and forget it. So don't need a metronome to be honest, so I'm going to use the first beat as my timing. All you do is click on a knob to audition it, really like that. There's a kick, first beat. And let's start building it up then. Kicks. Snare. Clap. This can be like to reinforce that snare, for instance. It can be any sound, which we'll change it in a second. So if you see there, the clap is actually coming in at an earlier section. So a really cool thing then you can see there is, for instance, the clap. Gone. So it's stretched out over 2 bars, so how do I access and view and change and add or remove bars? So it's really easy to show and do. All you do is hold the page button, and obviously these are pages going across, so I hold the page button, and then I hold the clap button, and as you can see here in the LED strip, I get to choose how many pages, which will be how many bars. So 8 bars, 128 steps, so I can go all the way back down to 1 or 2 bars. So that clap is stretched over 2 bars, as you can see there. So let's show you it again. So it's 2 bars, you see it playing. How do I access and see the next page of steps, which would be the next bar? It's really simple. You just click page, and you can see here the flashing turquoise button tells me there's a second page available. I click on that, and then I get access to the second page, which of course has nothing on it to play. So when I play it back, and now I can populate that set of pads, maybe do a little skip there at the end of that clap. And again, if I want to go back to the page, click on it, so it's flashing, it tells me that page 1 is available. Click on it again, white, I'm ready. Blue means it's available to go to. Time for some hats. I've got hats in here, some perk, another kick there. Now just because also on the SEQTRAK you've got kick, snare, clap, which is a great way of having a structure of samples. You don't have to have perk on perk. Like I've got a second kick there, like a breakbeat kick that I've been editing, sound design wise, so that's fine. You can put whatever you want on there, but I think it's great to always stick to this sort of terminology of kick, snare, clap. Especially you might even want to start play it in a live capacity as well, finger drumming, which I can show you how you would do that as well later on. So kick, snare, clap, hat. I think that's a good way to start with, and then maybe mix up these yourself. There's no rules. There's no rules. So hats. Let's get some hats in. Really simple. Second set of hats. I'm going to live with that for now, and maybe use this second kick as a sort of in fact, I'm going to page up this kick, and I'm going to go over two bars, so you only get it once. Really cool, really simple. That's how easy it is to get a beat down really, really quickly. And of course, you can be set by quantize, which you can see in the app. You can change the quantize, you can turn it off or on. You can choose it 16s, 32s, 8, whatever kind of quantize you want. If you want to turn quantize off, it's the all knob plus the record button. So my beat's there, really simple. Now let's expand upon that. So as you can see here in the kick, snare, I have a different channel for the snare, so that means I've got a different snare pattern. If I go to the first pattern, there's 6 available per track, so there's 11 tracks. Now in the snare pattern, you can see here that there's nothing on that one, and this is the cool thing about maybe having variations built up within a groove. So in this snare pattern, I'm just going to have maybe 1 snare, and that means, for instance, I can go to pattern 2 and have the 2 snares. And it's great to maybe, for instance, to make it a bit more expressive and show you exactly what I mean, is if I go to the hats, for instance, I can say, okay, hat channel 2, give me real hats here, shuffling. And then I can switch between them and basic hats. And obviously for stuff like drum and bass, you want to do drum rolls and transitions and all that kind of stuff. So third one, nothing on it, can be like drum roll transitions. Plenty of kicks here, just randomly putting them in. Yeah, really simple, but then I can choose between them and the transitions. So so you kind of get like a rough idea for grooves and stuff. So if you want to change more tracks and get access to more patterns, so if you want to have access to more patterns, really simple, hold your track. These are patterns 1 to 6, so I can have 6 patterns per track across 11 tracks. 6 patterns per track across 11 tracks. 8 bars, which is 8 pages, which equates to 128 steps. There you go, that's the terminology of it all. So if I want access then to maybe bank 4 of the groove, you can see it flashing here, so that means I'm bank 4 to 6. I can maybe do some more sort of funky kicks. Hold on to it, and then I can hold on to it and switch back. Real time. So within these 6 tracks, there's ways of triggering them. There's launch, quantize, and there's real time. So if you hold on to it, of course we have access to all the patterns within this track. So multiple different patterns within the kick track. We can also then choose to dictate how we launch them. So there's launch quantize. So when I was double triggering then, that means I'm literally real time. It's an instant trigger, not wait at all. If you want it to wait, you can do it like this. Project and then all. So if you want to change the launch quantize for triggering your patterns, project on the bottom right hand corner of the side of the unit, and then it's up and down. It's really simple. So I'm going to have it on 2 bars, and it's going to wait for 2 bars for it then re-triggers the next pattern. So here we go. It's waiting. It's going to wait. If I want to real time it, so that's just one way to show you how you can really start to build up different grooves and stuff like that right across the whole project. Great, I love that feature. So little beat down. So there's 2 ways I want to add more expressive sort of creativeness into this. So I mean, if I'm using beat machines, I want to be able to sort of expressively do stuff as well. Don't want to be just inputting step keys, which is great to be able to, for instance, kicks and snares, and you want them regimented and stuff. That's cool. But for instance, what if I wanted to then maybe get a vibe of how the things work together playing, or I'm doing a live performance, or I might be into finger drumming type stuff, or I hook up a MIDI keyboard and I want to do some finger drumming as well. So for instance, drums, I want to be access to play them a bit more. Really simple. I hold the kick, press one of the synth keys, and now means that I then get a little micro section here on the keyboard to play. Really good idea to work out the kick and relationship, snare relationships, how they work together. So if you're building a nice sound design kit, because you know, drum and bass, and not even just drum and bass, a lot of music in general, it's about layering. Fat kick with a fat snare. How do they work together? What's the relationship? Now we can just say, okay, they work together. Obviously, it's the same break. Obviously, it's the same break chopped up, but you get the idea. And some people might want to record like that as well. And you can then press record. And record this in real time. So not only can you play quantized, you can play unquantized, and you can play real time, and you can import via steps as well. So that's a really cool thing to show, I think. So yeah. And don't forget we have the effects as well. So in the effects slot, we can tab through the pages. So as again with the turquoise light, you can see what pages you flick into and what's available. If we go to the bottom one, here we have global sends, so reverb and delay sends, and then we have a 2-band EQ, so which is really good. So for instance, if I click on it now, two-band EQ, reverb and delay, global reverb send, and as you can see by this strip, tells you what value, how much you're doing it by. If you push the knob and turn quickly, you'll get much stronger values, like that. Reverb sends. So it's great for maybe fattening out the overall project before you keep going and going and going. So I might want to fatten out the snare, for instance. So we're still building the beat, so if I want to solo, I just hold solo, click on the snare really quickly. It might help you work out what you're working on. So if I go to the effects knob, the LED strip is telling me how many types of distortion are available. Now obviously if we're looking in the app, you can see all the types of distortion are available just by clicking on the effects section. But because we're doing standalone type 2 mode here, let's do it by ear and go through. So these are the available distortion algorithms. So it's dictated by this effects level, which would be obviously the wetness and how much intensity I'm adding of this distortion algorithm. Just to the snare. Quite like that bit crusher one. I'm going to go with the second one. Kind of darkens it a bit, that's cool. Now I'm going to unsolo and let's do the kick. So with the kick, same thing. I'm actually going to choose compression this time. So to get access to the other effects pages, you just use this effects thing here, which is really cool. So here we go, kicks, and I will choose then compression. That's quite cool. And obviously that's how much compression I might be doing. And I'm happy with that. I'm not going to go too mad with that. So solo, compressed kick, distorted snare. Now this clap's a bit, not bright sounding, but now this clap I think needs some work. I'm going to add some reverb to this clap. Really simple. I can audition it there. I can literally go, okay, let's go to reverb, and again, same process. I'm going to flip through the algorithms of the reverb and choose my favorite. And a good tip is maybe to have your effects level up, and then as you flick through the algorithms, it'll be set at that value, so then you get a real, maybe extreme example of that effect. So then maybe you get a extreme example of that effect, which means then you can choose your favorite and what kind of works and what doesn't work. Quite like that one. So yeah, so building your kit there, maybe take it down a little touch. Maybe take it down a touch, so there you go. A bit more. So this hat for me is a bit, I know it's out of the break and stuff, but because it doesn't quite gel with anything else, I might want to maybe filter it and just take some, make it low pass filter a bit, take some of the sort of sharp edge off it, so make it blend a little bit more. Really simple again. This is the really, I love the way how easy this is to work, this sort of terminology and theory of way of working with it. Just choose your effect, choose your effects level, done. So I'm going to go to, for instance, filter. So I'm going to go to filter. And of course, don't forget underneath that we have reverb. I'm going to go to that filter. I'm just going to darken it a little. Obviously I can choose what type of filter. And obviously I can choose a type of filter, and I'm going to work with that one and just blend it a little bit more. See, that's pretty cool. So, for instance, what if I wanted to maybe have that doing like a real-time filter groove? This is where something called motion recording comes in, and yes, it would be classed as automation as well. Really simple. Just hold the record key and choose your values. So anything magenta that you do within a SEQTRAK is classed as it having an activity, having a step, having something tied to it. So this will be the case for substeps, parameter locks, all that kind of stuff, motion recording. Anything you do like that will be magenta. So it's really helpful to know, for instance, if I'm in hats and then I go to here, say, okay, they're the normal hats. Okay, you know, pattern one's hats have something on them. And you can see what's on them because it's like there with the filter. Okay, right, it's filter on it, and obviously you can you can see by the LED that there is motion recording on there again, which would be classed as like automation. So I'm going to keep that. It's quite cool. Obviously, you can use your imagination where you go with that. It's really, really cool. You can delete any motion recording you do. You just hold the delete button and press sound effects knob. So shortcuts galore. Hold delete. It's the same for steps as well. You can hold delete and then delete any steps, so you can actually clear the whole pattern or groove or the whole project if you wanted to. And anything you do motion recording, again, it's the same thing. Or you want to delete a parameter or a step, hold down delete and press the effects knob that you use to delete that as well. And of course, the really easy one to do is, if you want to undo a step, is you just take it off and then take it on. So, okay. So, in these hats here, I might want to then add some sort of variety in these hats, make them a bit more natural, a bit more organic, evolving. I can use one bar, really simple, probability. So I might want some variation in these two. Hold the two steps here and then press mute, which is then going to give me the probability levels as dictated by these strips of how much, what's the probability of it hitting at that certain time and that certain step. So I'm going to take it down a few levels, and now it means that these two hats will trigger according to this probability level. So that gives it a sort of evolving feel with the hat, so it's not constantly repetitive. And it also means, for instance, you can work within one bar and have an evolving pattern. You don't have to go to bar 2 and 3 and 4 and steps all the way to 128. I mean, you can do, obviously, but it's just great for maybe getting quick ideas down of a constant evolving groove, almost like a randomize. Really, really cool. So, of course, this might be too rigid for people. Some people might say, okay, it's great, but it's just it's not loose enough. It's not organic enough. It's a bit too robotic, a bit too regimented. So it's great. We have swing here on the right hand side. The second button is the swing knob, and of course you just tap it once and it'll go by ticks, customizable via the app. But for other genres, for instance, you might want to just swing the hats and make the hats a little bit loose. Really, really cool, this micro timing. So really simple. Hold down the step, track knob, you can see it there, active, micro timing, and then I can choose to go back or forward micro timing. So minus is minus values per steps, or I can go up. So I'm going to go up to about maybe 2 slots there, which will probably be about 30. So it's like 15 each slot. So, and now I'm just going to shuffle and swing those 2 leading hats. Do the same again. Shuffle him slightly. And again. And of course you can and of course if you're collaborating, yeah mate, you can hold this key, and then you could do them all together at once. So yeah, you can globally swing all the hats at the same time. And this is all random, none of this is rehearsed, it's just me just messing around with some beats because I know this instrument inside out. So a really cool thing is now, okay, I've got that, I might want to do some sub steps, for instance. Sub steps are like your, ratchets, for instance. So I might want to do some sort of snare, sort of ratchet rolls. Let's go to page button. I'm going to go and add another page. There we go, second page. Second page active blue, nothing on the second page. And I'm going to put some ratchets here. Really simple. Hold the step, keep hold of it. Really simple. Add a step. Hold a certain step that you've added. You have to add the step first, and then we get our sub-step categories. So it's really simple. You like 1632s, triplets, and all that kind of stuff, and I can just turn up the ratchets and listen to them at will. And of course you can undo and delete that step, or you can just literally do that and then steps reset. If you want to know what the steps are, obviously they're in the app and in the manual as well. So for instance, if I go here, you can get up to double steps, then I can get to eighths, then I can get up to 16ths and triplets and so on and so on. So yes, magenta means it's active and means I've got the ratchets on there. And of course, because I'm on in one page and you can't see the rest, you're thinking, where's the snare page? Then you just click on it, go back, and here's the original snare page. So there's 2 pages to this snare, and the second page on this snare has an activity which is dictated by the magenta light, which is of course the sub-step. And of course, if you want to then start changing levels of things, if levels are getting a bit too unruly, if I go to the first effects page here, dictated by this bottom page, and you can see here the knobs correlate 1, 2, 3, and 4. So you can see the 4th knob will be the volume, and then it's just like that. I can turn the snare up or down, obviously dictated by the speed, intensity I push the buttons. I can choose an amount of volume. So you're stuck quickly to get a volume down on an instrument. It's really simple, or sorry, on a track. You click on the track, make sure you're in the effects page that correlates to the buttons provided. The first one's obviously going to be sound, pitch, pan and volume. And obviously you can pan them as well if you want to choose to pan things. It's just great to be able to quickly access the sounds and get the sounds down. So there you go. And of course, there's an even better way to globally affect volume signals. So if I go to all and I go to volume up button, I get to see a mixer. So you can actually then so this is all standalone. This demo I'm showing you, because it's literally showing you how to use it without anything else. And then the next one will show with the app and stuff. So this is great to be able to show how you can actually then on the fly performance. You might be turning down different volume levels. There's actually a mixer mode built into here as well. So not only am I mixing in here and adding effects from here and doing my patterns from here, and the sound design from here, I can also structure with songs, which we'll look in a second as well. So we can actually really just use this standalone. That's the big thing about this, which I absolutely love. Anyway, to come back out of there again, same thing again, all plus up button, and we're back at it again. So quickly parameter locking. Got the hats here. I might want to, for instance, just maybe have some sort of parameter locks, P locks as they're called, and that means I can choose any step can have any type of effects or filter or anything like that on it, just to make things a little bit more unique and interesting. Parameter locks is really cool on drum machines. I love the feature, and it's obviously implemented in different ways on different machines. Really simple on this one. Really simple. So I say, okay, I might want to just pitch certain parts of this hat. No, I might want to pitch certain parts of this snare. No, I might want to pitch certain parts of this clap. So really simple, hold the step, choose a pitch, I'm going to go down, so it's actually pitching it down. Really simple. Choose a step, choose an effects, choose a value. Really simple. Choose a step, hold the step, choose a value, select a value. It's really simple. I mean, obviously that's a bit too much, and you can delete that. It's really simple, but I think the easiest way to quickly is to do that. And you can stack parameters as well, so you can stack on top of each other, and then each time you want to delete, you hold delete, press the effect that you use for that value, and then you can undelete, go back through the stacked values of your parameter locking. So the pitch is obviously too crazy, so I'm just going to hold that, and I'm going to go to pitch. I'm just going to pitch it maybe up a little bit. Quite like that. Let's get a bit more groove on the snares. And that's it. That's basic beat making. That's how you're going to build your beat up. That's how you're going to add effects to your beat. That's how you're going to add variety to the beat with the parameter locks and the motion recording and the sub steps. And so yeah, I mean, that's really, really cool. Obviously, then you can go into the next levels of that. Is okay, if I'm building a track up, how will I add, you know, bass, synths? How will I put it together in a song and scene structure? Okay, so have a rough track down. Now going to the engines. So these are the synth engines. Sampler engine where we can resample, sample mic in, line in, built-in microphone. Don't forget, if you don't know, it's built-in microphone, built-in speaker. This is going through my studio setup at the moment. We're just recording it. So, for instance, I might want to resample the beat, which is really, really cool. So, you see the snare? And this is where layering might come in, for instance. So, a lot of drum and bass is layering. You're layering snares, and not particularly kicks, but snares you definitely are. Or you might layer a snare with a hat. So that's pretty cool. So, say for instance, I wanted to just have them and resample them. Really, really cool. I can say mute. I'm going to mute out the rest. Just want the snare and clap. That one there, where they're all together, the snare and the clap are together. Really simple. I go to my sampler engine, and I can say I can choose a pad. Whatever's on the pad, it's flashing. I can go to rec sample and hold that, and this tells me microphone, line in, resample. So this is my slot that I want resampling on. I press it again. This is my sample time. Press it again, that's it, job done. Great, so then obviously it's recorded in the rhythm of the track, so if I wanted to then maybe chop that down in some more, then I would go into the app then and literally, you know, in the app I would then, for instance, go into synths and samplers, and then I would say, okay, in sampler mode, I can click on the slot, which is number 1. You only get 7 sample slots, and then I can choose a start and end point like this. And then literally I can say, okay, there's my snare. I can then save this, and then I can have my own resampled snare that can go to the SEQTRAK library, and this is how you build up your own resampled sounds as well. So there you go, really, really cool. I'm just going to unmute everything again. Okay, so there you go. Next one we'll look at expanding upon this with sounds, with chords, with the synth engines, LFO, bass, modulation, all that kind of stuff. That'll do for this chapter, and part 2 will be up in a couple of days' time.